Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty World at War, one of my favorite games ever, some awesome games. The problem with this game though is that so few people play it, and there's still douches like to come in and try and mod this game. And there was a mod going around last night where it was kind of like you were ice skating, where you would basically run and then you'd be fine, but when you stopped running you just kind of continue to slide around, and once that happened it infected everyone in the lobby, and then they would go to a new lobby and that infected everyone, and lo and behold all of World at War, which has like 1,000 people on it, is infected. And so the gameplay we got for this week's episode of Dear Nero is not going to be super spectacular. It's basically going to be some World at War stuff. It's what I could get. We were able to play for maybe an hour or so before the entire game got infected by one douchebag, which sucks that's the case, but it's still World at War, and I like to play World at War, and hopefully you guys all enjoy the gameplay and this week's episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions. So NerosCinema turned 3 years old today. How cool is that? July 2nd, 2011 is actually when I made NerosCinema, and it turned 3 years old today, so happy birthday to NerosCinema. That's pretty cool. It's crazy, I've been doing YouTube for 3 years now. Like, that's quite a long time. I'm sitting here thinking, it started off in July 2nd of 2011, so it would go through July, then August, then September, then October, then November, then December, then January. That's 7 months, and January of 2012 is actually when I got partnered on YouTube, so it's been just under 3 years, about 2.5 years, just under 2.5 years I've been doing YouTube, and I've been a partner. I've been partnered with Machinima, and it's really cool. It's really cool that all this time really seems to have passed. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it really has been that long, and that's nuts. Like, my channel started during Modern Warfare 3, and Modern Warfare 3 seems so long ago, actually. Like, you go through the entirety of Black Ops 2, and then, of course, like, the 8 months or so, or however long we've been in Call of Duty Ghost, and then all of Modern Warfare 3, and my channel was started before Modern Warfare 3 came out. Actually, back, my first videos were usually Black Ops stuff and Battlefield 3, which, how long ago was Battlefield 3? Wow, I've been on YouTube for a while, and it's pretty cool that NerosCinema has turned 3 years old today, so that's pretty cool. But we're going to hop into the questions here for this week's episode of Dear Nero. The first one is kind of related to my YouTube birthday, in a way. First question, he writes, Dear Nero, how many subscribers did you gain your first year of doing YouTube? Nico from North Carolina. So Nico, I actually keep track of like everything I do on YouTube, and there's also analytics, which I think everyone has analytics. It's not even like just a partner-based thing where you can view, like, you can set certain ranges. Like, okay, so from July 2nd, 2011 to July 2nd, 2012, you can see your stats for that, and that's how I was able to check this out. And I actually went and counted, and so during my first full year of YouTube, I made exactly 320 videos, gained 16,757 subscribers, and just over 4 million views in my first year on YouTube. There's a lot of people that send me messages, how do I grow on YouTube? I've been trying to do YouTube for a while now, it's just not taking off. You're not going to take off in your first 10 videos. You're not going to take off in your first 20 videos or your first 30 videos. To me, the key to growing on YouTube is to really continue to post. You got to continue to make videos that people are going to try and find. Picture every video that you make as almost like a fishing line out into the ocean. The ocean, of course, being YouTube. And every time you cast out a line, that's a new video. And that new video can catch some fish, otherwise known as subscribers. That's kind of like a metaphor that I came up with. I'm hoping that works for you guys that are trying to make your YouTube channels and trying to grow your YouTube channels. Because I want everyone to have a YouTube channel. If you guys want to have a YouTube channel, I cannot begin to explain to you how fun YouTube is and how awesome it is and how it's changed my life for the better. As I want everyone to be able to experience that. And if you guys want to grow on YouTube, you need to make videos. You can't just, make 10 videos over the course of 3 months and go, well, WTF, why am I not growing? You need to actually try. You need to actually try. My first year on YouTube, I made 320 videos. How many of you guys out there who are YouTubers have made 320 videos in your first year on YouTube? Probably not, right? Make videos. If you have the passion for it, you guys will be able to do it. I believe in every single one of you because you guys are all awesome. So try it out. If you guys want to do YouTube, you gotta make videos. But yeah, that's what I did in my first year. And I think I was rather lucky, I gotta say, though, because I've seen some really good channels on Chem Strike Saturday where, they've actually got quite a bit of videos, but they're just not getting the attention I think that they deserve. But I think I got kind of lucky with some of it. But yeah, make some videos. You guys will definitely have fun with YouTube if you're looking to do that. That's what I did in my first year. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you prefer iPhone, Android, Windows, or BlackBerry? What phone do you use? Thank you, and of course, have a wonderful day. Jacob from the Great White North. Well, Jacob, I use the iPhone 4S is the phone I'm using. I'm no real plans to move up to the iPhone 5 or the 5S or any of the other variations of the iPhone 5. I've never been a phone person, so here are my phones, right? So the first phone I ever actually had was an NV2. You guys remember the NV2? It was a flip phone. It was actually pretty cool. I liked it a lot back in the day because it had the two speakers. I just liked the NV2. It was a nice phone. From there, I upgraded to the BlackBerry Storm, and remember the BlackBerry Storm was a really cool phone because the key of it was like it was a touchscreen phone, but it made a clicking noise when you wrote in it. So that was pretty cool. That was a big thing. I had that for quite a while, and I had it for a long time. Like I had it way after it was like the new phone on the block, and it was a really cool phone. I had it just forever because I don't really care about my phone at all until that phone was eventually got really old and really broken, and it was just very slow. Like I would get loading screens like trying to look at Twitter and stuff. It was like really, really slow because it was so old and it had been dropped so many times. And I eventually upgraded. I just got the iPhone 4S, and this is before the iPhone 5 came out, and I like it, but I have no means to like want to continue to grow with it or continue to upgrade it or anything like that because I don't really see a need for it. I'm not a huge phone person. I use my phone for like checking Twitter and iFunny when I'm trying to go to sleep or something like that. My phone rarely gets used for anything. Oh, it's also an alarm clock. I use my phone as an alarm clock, but yeah, just not a big phone person. Never really have been. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, are you excited for the new YouTube update that will allow for people to post videos in 60 frames per second, and how do you think it will affect the future of YouTube? Adrian from Massachusetts. So Adrian, you're right about that. They're actually going to be making it so YouTube videos can be uploaded at 60 frames per second, and it'll be actually a true 60 frames per second in the video. And basically what that's going to do is that's actually going to improve the overall quality of everyone's YouTube videos. Now, of course, I already uploaded at 60 frames per second. But what YouTube does is they kind of compress that down, and so it's not like a true 60 frames per second. When you're watching one of my videos, it's not a true 60 frames per second that you're watching. It's a bit choppier. And truth be told, actually, on this episode of Dear Nero, I actually render these videos out at 30 frames per second because there's a lot of different factors that go into the quality of a YouTube video. A lot of people think of just the resolution. If you're like on the outside looking in, you would think all that really goes into the quality of a video is the resolution. Is it 720p? Is it 1080p? That's really the only things that people look for in a video, but there's actually 3 different factors that go into the quality of a YouTube video. There's the resolution, there is the bit rate, and then there is the frame rate. And a high bit rate is like something, it's hard to explain what bit rate is, but basically the higher the bit rate that you're recording at and the higher the bit rate that you're rendering at, the better quality the video will be. You'll see videos on YouTube that are like, oh, it says it's in 1080p, but this looks like crap. That's because they record and rendered at a bad bit rate. And of course, the frame rate, I think everyone understands how frame rates work. Frame rates basically can make the video look really, really smooth, and it can be very nice. And in a perfect world, everybody could do like, full 1080p video at 60 frames per second with like a 20 million bit rate or higher, just a really nice bit rate, and all the quality videos on YouTube can have a great quality. Unfortunately, how the world works is internet companies are basically monopolies over the areas that they're within, and they really just screw everybody. They screw me hard, man. So they give me decent download. I got 30 download, but my upload's a 3. And with a 3 upload, that usually isn't even actually a 3. It's usually below a 3, like a 2 point something. It's tough to upload high quality videos. If I were to make a 1080p video and I'm going to render that out at a really great bit rate, I'm going to render that out at 60 frames per second and put it up on YouTube, it could take a long time. Just the other day, we made a video called The Fans Want Another World War II Game in Call of Duty. Right? You guys voted on the polls. You guys said, hey, we want another World War II game. That's basically what you guys said via the poll. And I made a video talking about that. It was some World War gameplay. And just because I haven't made a 1080p video in a while, because I usually do 720p, I'm like, I'm going to make this 1080p. I'm rendered out at a relatively high bit rate at about 15 million. We're going to do 60 frames per second, and I rendered it out. The render time wasn't that bad. It took like 30 minutes for me. My computer's decent. It's not amazing, but it took me about 30 minutes to render out that video. It took me like freaking an hour and a half to upload that 8-minute video because my internet speed is that bad. And that's what stinks, man. The idea of 60 frames per second, that is going to be something that can really help the quality on YouTube, and I'm glad that they're doing that. But what's really going to help the quality on YouTube is if internet providers actually give us decent upload speeds, which will allow us to make even better looking quality videos and put them on our channels. As it sits right now, a lot of us don't have the internet connection to really make our videos look that much better, but full 60 frames per second on YouTube is going to be good because just about everybody can upload videos at 60 frames per second. It doesn't add that much to the render time. It's just kind of the norm, 60 frames per second. You put it on YouTube. Usually it gets buffered, but apparently it's not. It's actually going to be a full 60 FPS soon. So the quality of the videos on YouTube are actually going to be pretty good. And some of the other changes they had, one of the ones that was really interesting was they're going to have a virtual tip jar now, where people on YouTube can donate to their favorite YouTubers via this little button. I'm sure it's going to link with PayPal or something like that. I don't know how it's going to work. I think it's going into beta soon, but I think that's going to help out a lot of people. I remember when I was first starting on YouTube, and I first decided to put my eggs in one basket. I'm really going to make a run at this YouTube thing. I wasn't making a whole lot of money off of YouTube. I was dedicating all my time to it. I didn't have a job outside there. I worked at Walmart for a bit, then I left there, and I started doing stuff on YouTube. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to look for another job like I did with Walmart. I'm just going to continue to make videos here on YouTube and see what I can do with it, because I was partnered. And at that time, a tip jar would have been amazing, because I was not making anything. It was really difficult to do anything, because you're just making so little money off YouTube, and yet you're still dedicating all your time to YouTube to continue to try and grow on there. A tip jar would have been great then. I don't need a tip jar anymore, but regardless, everyone's going to be getting a tip jar, and I think that's really going to help out a lot of the smaller YouTubers that are really starting to, try and come up in the YouTube game. They're really going to try and grow their channels. That's going to be pretty cool. That's going to help them out. So the changes to YouTube as of late are actually pretty awesome. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I just watched your video about how you want more COD games to be placed in the past, not the future. I completely agree with you, but what are your thoughts about alternate history games that take place in the past? Possibly a game that took place in the Cold War, where the Russians and Americans went to war, but are still at it. I like this idea, of course, and I'm hoping you do too. Keep up the great work and awesome videos. Billy from Minnesota. So alternate history in Call of Duty. So alternate history is kind of already what Call of Duty is. Of course, everything that we see, even in like Call of Duty World at War, is not exactly how it happened in real life. So it's even that it's slightly altered history. But the idea of a completely different alternate history, it's tricky how you can do this, because if you change history a lot, then you might as well just go in the future, because you're making stuff up at that point. But if you were to do an alternate history, like what you said, for example, where the Cold War never really ended, which maybe it didn't, but the Russians and Americans are still at war. Let's say it's it's after Vietnam. Let's say we're all the way up in like almost to the 90s, and the Cold War is still happening or something like that. That could be pretty interesting, because they could still keep the world as it is, but not change it around a whole lot. If you were to try and make a historical change like what Fallout did. And I heard this on a podcast. I'm not exactly sure how Fallout works, but from what I hear in the Fallout universe, they never discovered the transistor. Therefore, everything was like ran on like nuclear power and stuff like that. And that completely changes the world. That completely, the world of Fallout, like in Fallout New Vegas, is completely different than like anything you would see in real life, because it's just so much different. It's all nuclear driven. It's all really big and bulky, weird looking stuff, right? That would be weird in Call of Duty. But if they were to just make slight alternate changes, like let's say, for example, Hitler didn't kill himself and World War II was still happening going into the 60s or something like that, how would that work? And they can actually take you to real places like Berlin or Moscow, or you could still be at war with Japan, for all I know. That'd be pretty cool. I'm not against the idea. I think in those videos I kind of came across as, no, we need past, actual, historical moments in every single portion of this Call of Duty game or nothing else. I'm okay with alternate history. I'm definitely okay with that. I'm just saying I don't want like laser beams and spaceships and stuff like all the way up into the future. I like some actual history. I like to go into the past a little bit. I like, a lot of people were saying, don't go back to World War II, Treyarch, you're limiting yourself. And then to those people, open that damn history book, people. 60 million people died there. There were thousands of different weapons used in World War II. Thousands. You don't need to make up weapons just to make it like work within the game. You don't just need to make up different kinds of laser beams and fancy proton grenades to throw just to make it interesting. There's thousands of guns used in World War II. There was 12 major countries that fought in that war, and there were dozens of other countries that were directly affected by it. Do you know how many different places in World War II they had to go to? There was an absurd amount of depth to World War II, and to those people that says, oh, don't go to World War II, you're limiting yourself, it's like, oh my god, there's so much stuff in real life that you're not limiting yourself. Just because you're not making up stuff doesn't mean you're limiting yourself. Truth be told, this is like the thing, guys, it's something I don't think a lot of people are understanding, is when games like Call of Duty decide to just ignore stuff that's happening in current times or happening in the past and decide to go with a futuristic route, that's a lazy route. The lazy route is just making up whatever the hell you want without having to be historically accurate to anything or actually having to have real things in there. They can just make up whatever they want and do whatever they want with stuff. Black Ops 2 is actually kind of guilty of that. They just made up a lot of the guns. Most of the guns in that game aren't even real guns. They're just their version. Like, oh, this gun, we're basically taking this gun and we're just gonna make whatever changes we want to it, and then we call it this new gun. Most of the guns of Black Ops 2 weren't even real guns. They were like rough changes. Like they would take a gun, like, I don't know, just work with me on this. Picture the M16. They take that, they make a bunch of changes to it, then bam, now it's called the M8A1 or something like that. Even though the M8A1 is kind of the XM8, that's kind of a real gun, but still, there's a bunch of guns in that game that weren't real, and they just kind of made it up, and that's the lazy route. I don't like when they do that. It's like, why make up stuff when there's more than enough actual stuff? And the reason I have to make up stuff is because they go into the future. My solution to that is don't go into the future. But it's a whole debate. You know, a lot of people like to have World War II. A lot of people like to have Vietnam. There's still people that would like to see modern stuff because they're interested. Not just because they don't like World War II, but they're interested in stuff that's happening now. They're interested in stuff that could be happening in the future. And everyone wants their own thing. Me personally, I just want World War II, but I don't hate you if you don't want World War II or anything like that. I don't know if that ever came off as like, no, you guys are stupid. World War II is the only cool thing. I'm not like that at all. If you guys don't want World War II, that's fine. I'm just saying I like World War II, and that's what I would like to see. But yeah, an alternate history would be pretty cool in Call of Duty, I think. I think a lot of the games are actually some kind of basis of alternate history. It could be cool, but who knows? Who knows? Treyarch is most certainly already working on their next game, and I cannot wait to learn more about it, although we're well over a year probably away from even getting a trailer. So I just want to find out what it's about, you know? Just want to see what it's about. But next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what is your opinion on trick shotting? I find that it's sometimes silly, and I don't think it helps or requires any skill, and it ruins search and destroy. Tomid from London. I think it's Tomid. T-A-H-M-I-D, Tomid. So, Mr. Tomid, I say this to you. Is trick shotting even still a thing? I haven't seen a trick shotter in, like, literally years. Well, I mean, occasionally you'll see the guy that's, like, jumping off of stuff and spinning and, like, domination, trying to get a no-scope or something like that. But for the most part, trick shotting, to me, was, like, a big thing during Modern Warfare 2, and it hasn't really became a thing really ever since. Maybe I'm just out of the loop with that, but I just don't feel as though trick shotting is, like, a giant thing anymore. I don't feel as though tons of people are doing it. But my opinion on trick shotting is this. Do it in private matches. You know, trick shotting is very fun to watch. You know, used to watch anyway, trick shotting montage because they looked cool. They were definitely cool. But I've been in the lobbies also where they get those clips. A lot of people would do it, especially during Modern Warfare 2, is they would all join off each other's friends lists, and so they, you know, so a lot of them would be on one team and a lot of their friends would be on the other team. And then once everyone else in the lobby dies that's not on their friends list, they all just go meet in a spot. One person stands there for them while everyone else, they always continuously jump off and try and trick shot the guy. And if they miss, they climb back up the ladder and they jump off and try it again. And the rest of the players are all sitting here forced to sit here and watch these dumbasses sit here and spin and twirl in the air. And it's like, oh my god, can we please just play the game right? And it bothered me that was like, that was the thing. That was like the entire community of it. And it's like, if you're gonna set up in public matches, what's the difference if you do it in a damn private match? You know, like, why don't they just go do that? But apparently, trick shotting as a whole has really kind of died off, at least in my opinion. I haven't really seen too much about it. Of course, I haven't actively gone out and looked for it, but you know, I don't see people trick shotting in games. I don't see, you know, videos. I don't see people talking about trick shotting. I think it's basically kind of gone. It's kind of erased after Modern Warfare 2. I don't know. That's just my view on it. Let me know. Is trick shotting still a thing? People still do that? Because, I don't know. I don't see it a whole lot. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I just bought an airsoft gun, and I was wondering if you've ever paintballed or owned an airsoft gun. I would also like to say thank you for posting awesome videos. Thank you for reading this, Anonymous from Washington. So, thank you for the question. Have I ever owned an airsoft gun or have I ever been paintballing? So, I used to own a paintball gun. I bought it off my cousin. I never really did anything with it besides, like, shoot, like, trees and stuff outside. That's really all I did with it. I remember one time I was trying to take the CO2 cartridge off of it, and I really didn't know how, and I ended up screwing up somehow, and I, like, ripped it off. And then CO2 started getting shot up like all throughout there. And I had no idea CO2 was like that cold. CO2 is freezing cold. But in terms of airsoft guns, I've never owned an airsoft gun. And this might sound like a dig. I'm trying not to make it sound like a dig. But it might come off as one. I've never owned an airsoft gun because I own real guns. You know, to me, the idea of an airsoft gun is to have a gun, and of course you can make airsoft guns look like M16s or AK-47s or a Desert Eagle or wherever you really want, right? That's the kind of the fun of an airsoft gun, I guess. But for me, the idea of an airsoft gun is you own a gun that you can, you know, shoot paper and stuff with. But I don't want an airsoft gun because I use real guns. You know, so I've never had the need to own an airsoft gun. I've seen some videos, actually. I think Level Cap, he does a lot of different Battlefield stuff. I've seen some videos from him. He has like the M16A3 from Battlefield 3, and it's completely finished, completely customized to look exactly like the M16 from Battlefield 3, and it's an airsoft gun, and apparently he does that with a couple different guns, and those are really cool. I like seeing, like, that stuff's really cool, but for me personally, I just never, like, felt the need to buy an airsoft gun, and they can actually get pretty pricey as they go. But yeah, I hunt. Guns are a big part of my family. Everyone in my family hunts many different guns. My cousin Nick actually owns a Mosin Nagant. So I'm thinking of buying one myself. I mean, it's not like they're making more of them, and they're relatively cheap. I think I should just buy a Mosin Nagant just to do it. But if I'm going to buy a Mosin Nagant, should I wait and try and find the actual sniper variant of the Mosin Nagant and actually try and get the PU scope for it? And I don't know. I think it's cool. It's a World War II gun. They're not making more of them. There's a set amount of them that were made in World War II. And if you want to get one, you better get one, because they're in limited supply, obviously. Even though limited is not exactly the right phrase, because so many Mosin Nagants were made. But yeah, I never felt the need to buy an airsoft gun, and I've never actually been paintballing. Just kind of shot a paintball gun now and again. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you think YouTube is going to grow from here? Do you think it's going to start dying off and something else will come out? Nevin from Texas. So Nevin, that's an interesting name. It's like Kevin, but with an N. Never actually seen that name before. Do I think YouTube is going to die off? I don't think it's going to, but it's tricky because you look at MySpace, how big that was, then Facebook came out of nowhere and took it over. And now no one uses MySpace anymore except for like music artists and like people that drink Mountain Dew. That I can tell from the commercials anyway. But yeah, so I guess it could happen. Do I think it's going to happen? Definitely not. It's the #1 video sharing site on the internet, and it has been forever. Every single, maybe not every quarter, but every single business year, they've made more money than they made the year before it. They're growing ridiculously, and now they're actually starting to do some actual updates. They're updating the thing to 60 frames per second. They're adding that tip jar thing. They're putting out resolution. You can upload in 4K if you want to, I guess, or at least certain people can. They're upping the resolutions. YouTube's growing. YouTube's definitely growing. It is a career for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, or maybe not hundreds, probably tens of thousands of people, maybe. I think make careers off of YouTube, not even just working for YouTube, but actually working as a video maker on YouTube. It's a big deal. YouTube is a giant deal, and it's not going to go away for probably ever, honestly. It's ginormagantuous. Like, this is Google we're talking about. MySpace was like a small company that just kind of got big, and then got taken over by Facebook. We're talking about Google here, people. YouTube's owned by Google, unless you plan on Google going under sometime soon. YouTube's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, now that you quit smoking, is there anything else that you'd like to change about yourself? William from the USA. So, that's a good one. So, I have been smoke-free for just over a year now. Is there anything else that I'd like to change about myself? And I think it's something we should all try to evaluate. There's a lot. I think we should all really look at ourselves and what can we improve. So, I smoked cigarettes for 6 years, maybe. I want to say I was like 15 or 16 when I started, and I quit when I was 21. I think, yeah, that sounds about right. So, that's about 6 years. But here's the thing. I feel as though I was in better shape when I smoked because, I now have a, when you're 15, 16, 17, wherever, I didn't have a car, I think, until I was like 19 or 20. I just never bothered to even want to buy a car, even get my license for that matter. But after I got a vehicle, I now don't walk anywhere. Beforehand, I used to walk everywhere, but now I don't go anywhere. So when I do go places, I drive there. So I feel as though I was in better shape back then. Like, I don't have a weight issue in the slightest. I'm actually grossly skinny. And so gross to the point that I sometimes worry that when I see people that like I went to high school with, that those people think I'm on drugs or something. Because like it's gross skinny. Like if I were to like up my heart rate a little bit, you could see my heart kind of beating through my chest. It's actually that gross. So yeah, I'm very, very skinny. I'm trying to actually, for the first time in like ever, I'm trying to actually alleviate that. I'm 6'3" and I weigh just under 150 pounds. I'm actually starting to like walk. I'm actually starting to like do walks and stuff. I'm starting to do a little bit of weightlifting and things like that. I'm actually trying to not be as skinny as I am. I'm actually trying to build up some muscle for the first time since I was probably 17 or so. So I'm actually trying to do that. That's like my current thing. I'm trying to work on with myself. Is I'm trying to, it's cool, man. I found like what I want to do for like my job, my career with YouTube. I found that. I quit smoking, and now I want to get back into better shape. I quit smoking, just over a year ago, but I've done nothing to get myself in shape. And I feel so everyone should constantly try to improve themselves. And for what I'm trying to improve of myself right now is actually my physical health. I still get winded, taking out the garbage because I smoked for 6 years, and I do YouTube, and YouTube involves me sitting at this computer desk all day, every day. And so I do walking and trying to get myself into shape. I'm doing a little bit of weightlifting. Just trying to get in shape. Let me know in the comments if you guys are trying to do anything currently to try and improve yourself, because I think everyone should be trying to do that. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I know you're a big fan of the Borderlands series, and I was wondering, what do you think of the new installment, the new features, new plot, and etc.? I'm a big fan of your content and been here since 5K. Nathan from Oklahoma. So Nathan, the new Borderlands game, Borderlands pre-sequel. Actually, I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to it. There's some stuff that comes out. There's stuff that you see, but there's a new element that's gonna be that ice element, and it's gonna be set on the moon, and it's gonna be a pre-sequel. So basically, it's going to be happening after the events of Borderlands 1, but before the events of Borderlands 2. I'm excited for the game. I haven't been actively watching all the trailers. I'm actively trying to find leaked information or anything about that. I'm excited for it to come out. I'm waiting for it to come out in October. I'm gonna play it. I loved Borderlands 2. If there's one thing I really want the game to be just make it Borderlands 2, but give us new areas, give us new bosses, give us new things, stuff like that. Give us new uniques, give us new weapons. I hope that they don't just reskin a bunch of the weapons and throw them in there. I hope that the uniques are different. They're not the same unique weapons from Borderlands 2. I hope that the legendary weapons are not just the exact same weapons from Borderlands 2. But at the same time, throw in a bit of nostalgia. Maybe throw in the double penetrating gun Chem Terrell in there. Maybe throw in, I don't know, one of my favorites was the Hellfire, even though it's not that good. Maybe throw in the Hellfire submachine gun. Throw that in there. Maybe have some of the legendaries from Borderlands 2 make an appearance in the pre-sequel, but for the most part, I want the rest of them, the uniques, legendaries, all different kinds of guns. I would definitely want that. And if there's one thing I'm worried about the environment. I like Borderlands. I love the world of Pandora and exploring it and going through all different places. But now we're on the moon. It's what will I get that same connection to this area is one of the things I'm worried about. Will this area be interesting enough for me, or will it just feel like a DLC? We'll see when the game comes out. I'm definitely excited for it. Next and final question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, do you remember you did a report card for Black Ops 2 near the end of its life cycle? I was wondering if you're going to do the same thing for Ghost when it nears the end of its life cycle. Keep up the awesome videos, Mike from Connecticut. So Mike is right. With this, I've done a report card. Basically, it's a video going over, giving grades almost, A, B, C, D, and Fs to different aspects of the games. I did for Modern Warfare 3, did for Black Ops 2, and the things we go over are different things like the maps, different things like maybe the spawn system, or the weapon balance, or the kill streaks, and things like that, and just kind of giving grades to the games as, after, the game's basically done, maybe come September or October, we do report cards. And I'll do a report card for Call of Duty Ghost when the time comes, when it's at the end of its life cycle, once all the DLC is out, once we've played just about a full year of the game, and we'll review the maps, we'll review the guns and the spawn system and the kill streaks and all that stuff. There's a bunch of criteria towards it. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll definitely be doing that. And believe it or not, more than just one person actually sent me that question this week. There's actually a couple people that are wondering if I'm going to be doing a report card for Call of Duty Ghost at the end of the year. So, yeah, I'll do that. Report cards are fun. Yeah, it's kind of just grading the game, giving my opinion, seeing your guys' opinion on different aspects of the game. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of Dear Nero. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. And if you guys like to send in your guys' questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, send me a personal message here on YouTube. Make the title of the message Dear Nero, and I will go through all the questions next week and answer most of them. And that's kind of how Dear Nero works. But yeah, happy birthday to NerosCinema. This was 3 years at NerosCinema, exactly, to the day. 3 years NerosCinema has been alive, and here's 3 more, here's 6 more, here's 9 more, here's to as long as you guys will continue to watch me. I will continue to make videos and post here on YouTube. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.